Hello everyone, Sharon Ann Klinkler here with our Akashic Tarot lesson and reading today. As always, our reading is for every one of us who is here watching and participating in this. I would like to share that it seems to me that it's important for all of us to understand in more than an academic way, in a very visceral way, that we are many layers. We are people of many layers and have a duality about ourselves, but also more than that, it seems to me that oftentimes, we get very, very lost on the things that the personal world requires. And it's been a renewed goal of mine to always investigate, maybe in every room I step or in all of my relationships, little and large, the deeper side of it. And that brought me to doing this reading for us today. Again, I shuffled the cards with this very day and all the people that are going to watch it in mind. These cards came up exactly as they are. And this reading is, you can either call it the two paths or your paths forward. I like to use a path metaphor when I'm doing a very extensive visualization for intuition, but I also like to use more than one path so that we can remind ourselves of the deeply layered experience we have in life, and that our life isn't only about one thing. So I like to start off in one place, and I put one card down. And it's not really, a lot of people would think, well, here's the two paths and this is the fork in the road. I actually want to steer away from calling it that, because a fork in the road means that you have to choose either one or the other. Now, literally, when you're walking down a path, you can't, and you come to a fork in the road, you can't split your body in half and go down both paths, unless, of course, they're right next to each other. But your paths, all of our paths, are very adjacent, so we do more than one path in our lives. And so, instead of seeing this as the fork in the road, this is like the go square on the Monopoly board, the starting point of our two paths, or this week's two paths forward. I love the fact that we got spring here, because that means that for each of us, even if it's the dead of winter or the fall, harvest time, all of that, there's something of a new birth for each and every one of us in getting this reading today. And that is so true for me, and I know it's true for many, many of you out there. Now we're going to take one path at a time. Let's start with the path on the right here. And this is the first card out. Is a fated meeting. Now, with that falling on the spring card, there could be a new relationship, or it could be new energy in an existing relationship. Also, I want to say it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could also be a business relationship, but it's a very important one that seems to be coming with new energy. Now, on top of that card, we have the two worlds. This is the woman who is, again, I'm not surprised this card showed up in this reading, because it's a card of duality. It's a card of, you see the Buddhist monastery on the mountaintop in the back, but she's turned her back and she's looking at the fire, and she's working hard at her spinning and earning her money. She's not desolate or anything like that, but there's a tear between her spiritual directives and her work directives. It may not be that work is antithetical to her spiritual reality, but it could just be keeping her so busy that she doesn't have time for it. Very happy to say that card then moves us into Hilarion, which is the ascended master of the fifth ray, which is concrete knowledge, science, research, evidence, and evidence is why he's also the patron of spiritualism and mediumship, because of course mediums bring evidence of spirit by their names, how they passed, all of that type of thing. So even though she's feeling some duality here, we're feeling some duality as we go into our life this week between our personal world and our spiritual world. If we turn our heads inward and start to bring ourselves forward to the spiritual reality and bring our spirit powers into our daily life, what happens? Wow, bingo, the Master Artisan reversed. I love this card reversed. If you can see, he's the Master Artisan, and he's teaching his the people who, I can turn that right side up, he's actually dropping some beautiful jewels into the hands of his apprentice, who is now going to work on the next piece. But in the upside down position, the jewels are coming back to him. And even as that's happening, he's looking at the unfinished pieces, the ones that yet to have the jewels set into them. So there is a great return on the work that you do, the relationship that you're manifesting in this week, as you bring your consciousness of your spirit to your work, it just starts to pour out from you. It's very, very exciting, because the very reason I wanted to pull these cards was to have a path of duality. And it says we don't have to have a schism between our work life, our personal life, and our spiritual life. Look, they're all on one path. And that's delightful. That's delightful. So take yourself into this wonderful new energy of relationship and see yourself, understand that you can integrate the work and your spirituality, and as you do, your work just starts to explode into more creative expression and opportunity. Now let's take a look at this other path, which again shows us the duality. And isn't it funny, the Buddha prepares, the Buddha meditating, is the first card out. I do not lay these cards down with any intention. I shuffle the cards, and whatever we get, in whichever way we get it, is the way I show it to you, because that's our reading for today. So the Buddha is meditating, all of his disciples are meditating behind him. And it's a little bit of a juxtaposition, because here these people are coming together in a personal relationship. He is building his inner relationship in preparation to connect with his devotees and his disciples. So this path shows us that it's going to be more about our personal manifest physical world, and this card shows us this path is more about our spiritual reality. Okay, it's because the Buddha prepares as the first one out. And look at the consequences of meditating, everybody. The Willow card, the card of the flight of the spirit. Birds in the tarot and oracle decks are indicative of spirit. Why? Because they fly. They have the freedom of flight. And the willow is strong, and the water and watery, so it's strong and flexible. Having a yin yielding nature and a yang permanence and depth of strength is the very nature of your spirit. And so that's what this brings to you, this inner work. But then we move into the lightning bolt. And I will say that sometimes the lightning bolt is somewhat of a trauma and a drama. It strikes the tree. You can see the reflection in the puddle and all of that. So there may be, even in our work with spirit, and our own spiritual work, there might be something sudden or unknown to us at this moment in time. It could be something in our personal life that also happens that, again, strikes out and surprises us. Don't worry about it, because the card that follows, there's always if not a causal effect, there's always a continuing effect in terms of time. So get ready to know that something might interrupt your meditation practice or your spiritual work, or something might, a word from another might pull you into your ego. And that, of course, is very disruptive when we don't learn to use the ego as our partner in spiritual evolution. So know that something is coming to act in a little bit of a difficult way for your spiritual work. But I'm not worried about that, because immediately the sands of time is reversed. And I love this card reversed, just like I love this card reversed. There's some cards in old tarot decks where the reversal is actually even better and more dynamic than the upright. This is a man who's very hard at work. It's the Six of Scrolls, and he has worked on many scrolls. This could indicate study or any kind of planning or creative endeavor, could even be creating a business. And now this does bring us into our personal life because it is a work card. Now, can we work on our spiritual evolution? Absolutely. But something sudden is going to happen that even if it might be difficult at first, it gives us an opportunity to actually bring to something to bear in our work life that speaks to our spiritual reality. And the reason I like this so much is because in the reverse position, all the sands that have run out when it's upright are on the top, and the hourglass is just getting started again. So this means you're going to be having a difficult time sometime later this week. It's not going to be permanent, but it will awaken you to something, an opportunity that you can have that if you give yourself time to do it, can be a really manifest experience of joy and indeed a possible abundance in your personal life as well as your spiritual life. So look at these two paths. Seems to be very different, but at the end, it's very, very the same. And indeed, the outcome, of course, what is the outcome when we live with our divine self in our truth? And when we keep our inner wisdom at hand's length and reach for it every day and connect with spirit and bring together, integrate the duality of the two paths, when we go down both paths and bring a little of each, we know success in every single endeavor. So very exciting for this two-path reading. The dualities of two paths do not have to take us away, do not have to cause strife. There are two worlds in our reality, an eternal, all-powerful, unlimited loving one, and the personal reality, the moneyed, physical, actual, three-dimensional one. But those do not have to be at odds. Our eternal reality is not apart from us when we're in the physical. It is a part of us when we're in the physical. So take all the paths that lie before you this week and get ready for success, a little bit of tumult, and a discovery of grace that you may not be even unknown to you at this time. There are lots of things that are unknown to us that bring us a new opportunity for awareness. So thank you very much. This is Sharon Ann Klingler. Again, I want to invite you to join Hay House for the Certified Tarot and Card Reader Program. You can get certification from Hay House if you are a professional card reader or want to be. That's pretty big word, certified by Hay House. And I'm very delighted to be a teacher in that program. And I will be teaching both a little bit on the Akashic Tarot, but mostly about the Rider-Waite Tarot. So keep looking at Hay House for that to be coming in January of 2019. And we'll see you next time. God bless you, everyone.